Alright, so this is my review of the Sony Xperia 1 V or 5. Um, so my initial thoughts is the phone is extremely narrow. I've watched like MKBHD's review on it, and that's actually what led me to get it. He obviously had it early, reviewed it, I pre-ordered it. Um, I got it maybe 2 months ago, and I've been meaning to do a review. I didn't daily it just because it is way too narrow for me. I really wanted to try out a mobile 4K screen because I just hadn't seen a 4K screen. And so far, it looks great. I feel like they don't take advantage of it that much as far as in the UI. They're not really adding like these really nice elements or really showcasing the OLED 4K screen that they have on there. Um, they probably do have somewhere in the gallery where you could watch like 4K videos, but I feel like in the elements themselves, the UI isn't leveraging like 4K where you could be like, oh wow, this looks really nice. This pops out, adds a lot of contrast, whatever the case may be. It's very flat. I feel like the pixel adds more color and the screen looks more vibrant, despite Sony's screen is probably a little bit better. However, I will say that I think the best thing on this device is the camera. It really feels like you have a digital camera. So if you're looking for a phone and a digital camera in one, like it has all the settings a digital camera would have. When you take a picture, it looks like a budget-in digital camera, like literally one of those like small vlogging cameras. It looks just like that, and this entire video is being recorded on the Sony to showcase like how it looks like a digital camera. However, there is only one lens, and you could tell which one it is out of the three that's going to be your digital camera one. It's the one that has like the biggest sensor and all that good stuff. But it looks great if you're using that camera. As soon as you switch like zoom focuses, it obviously goes to the other cameras. And once it goes to the other cameras, that's when you can notice, okay, this is a regular phone camera. They really emphasize the camera part because it does have like a dedicated shutter button. And if you put the phone in landscape, you could take a picture or record using like the button, just like you would a digital camera. So I really feel like they were trying to make a digital camera and said, why not just make it a phone as well? And they really succeeded at that specific aspect. Where it falls off, I feel, is the general feel is very narrow, but I think that's just because of the type of the display they wanted on this phone. This is my first Sony Xperia, but my sister had one many years ago that she swore by, so I decided to try one out myself. If I were to pick between like Android devices, I would say the Pixel is still probably a little bit better for me in my use case. I daily an iPhone, so I feel like the Pixel offers a more like smoother, refined experience, and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus as well that has like a really great experience, which I'll drop a review on those later as well. There's some features that I love about the Samsung. There's some features I love about the Pixel, and every device has its own thing, and I feel like where Sony excels is really the camera. So if you really want like a digital camera experience, and I want to say that there's a lot of caveats to this because if you're posting to social media, it's probably not going to matter. But if you're looking to print these images or upload them to somewhere where like it's going to take full advantage of the resolution and upload at the full file size, um, that would be an advantage. Or if you're trying to print a photo album, that's where you could take advantage of that. Or even for just your viewing pleasure on that device, and possibly YouTube. So like where you're uploading a video where the quality really matters, and you just want to have your phone and your camera be in one. I think this is like the perfect, and also if you understand a lot of the digital camera aspects and video camera aspects, because the apps they have on here are really pro oriented, meaning that they have all the settings, white balance, everything you could adjust right out of the box, and it could be a little overwhelming because it doesn't offer user-friendly experience or a novice experience. It's really just like what a digital camera is, you know how to work one, and you're here to leverage all these settings to essentially create the best possible image you want. It does have auto settings. However, with that being said, there's still all those other settings that kind of get in the way, and they're not really phone intuitive, but they are exactly what you would see on a video camera or a digital camera. And before you even open the apps, it kind of explains to you how these settings are available just like they would be in, you know, Sony's actual video cameras or Sony's actual point and shooters. So it's something to keep in mind that is really focused to that demographic. If you already have a digital camera or you're a videographer and you would like that same experience on your phone, and you upload content to websites that, you know, leverage that full quality, then that's where I feel like the Sony Xperia would be for you. Other than that, for the price, there's so many other phones that could do essentially the same thing, if not better, that come with a better feature set. One thing that I always will really kill phones, including iPhones, for is potential battery preserving. This is a very like nerdy aspect, but the Pixel, nor the Sony, nor the iPhone until the latest iPhone 15 Pro Max, or all iPhone 15s in general, I believe. At least it's rumored. I don't have one yet, so I don't know. You could limit the charge rate or the charge capacity. Essentially, what you could do is you could limit to the battery to charge only to 80%. Samsung allows you to do 85%. iPhone before that didn't allow you to limit how much you want to charge your battery. On a day-to-day basis, 80% of your battery is fine, and long-term you'll make your battery last longer by decreasing the degradation. So that's one of the things that I care about. Sony doesn't offer that, unfortunately. I feel like since they're kind of a niche phone, it would be nice if they could offer it. It's a software thing that any manufacturer could just put on their devices. Pixel, I'm surprised doesn't have it. That's the one thing I feel like Samsung has over them. And then one thing I dislike from all Androids is their use of their navigation bar. So ever since, I believe, I'm not sure if it was Android or iPhone that came first, but iPhone has obviously the navigation bar at the bottom, kind of the gesture bar. There you go. That's a better word for it. It has a gesture bar at the bottom, and that gesture bar is really well integrated. I think a few YouTubers have mentioned this, but not very many, and this really bugs me because if you're in any app, the color of the actual gesture bar changes, but not just the gesture bar, like a whole little icon underneath. And it might be a limitation with the Android operating system that doesn't allow you to kind of have like a transparent or translucent background around that gesture bar. As you can see, iPhone has like it's translucent, it just kind of hovers above any app. However, on Android, any Android device that I've tested, and I've tested like the Nothing phone, the Samsung Galaxies, the Pixels, and I would think that in the Pixels it would be one area where they would have it resolved, but they don't. And I guess it's not really a resolution, but it's something that is solved for, I guess, and addressed, and it makes the UI look a little glunky, especially if you have it like in landscape mode and you're trying to have like a full immersive experience. As soon as that gesture bar comes up, if there's like a full screen thing, you'll see that the little bar at the bottom is taking up like a small inch of the screen there at the bottom. Use a Mac and Android at the same time. There's many different ways, but I found the simplest way that you could use for multiple devices that are Android based is by downloading and installing SideQuest, and then putting your device into into developer mode, and then plugging it into the application to your Mac. At that point, you could see your files. So that's one of the main things that I wanted to be able to do. Since I'm recording this on the Sony Xperia, I want to grab the file off of it. And some headsets have like a Mac specific application you could download, and it'll communicate with the phone. But I try to avoid a lot of bloatware, and sometimes it only works with certain phones, only their devices, things like that. But one true and tried way I found to access any Android device, as long as developer mode and USB debugging are enabled, which it's a tiered thing, so you have to have developer mode enabled in order to enable USB debugging. If you have those things enabled and you download and install SideQuest, you could go through all the folders. There's also some other advantages. You can sideload APKs, things like that. It's meant for VR headsets. They have mainly VR apps, but you could always download apps from like APK Pure and things like that. Like there's different online resources where you could download apps, and then you could use SideQuest to install it on any Android device. So that kind of wraps up my review for Sony Xperia. I would say not a phone for me, but it's definitely for someone who wants a digital camera and a phone merged in one.